Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, May the 9th. We got a two-game slate once again for Monday, Game 4 of Boston and Milwaukee on Monday, and then we have Game 4 of Memphis and Golden State. So, as always guys, I'm going to talk through each one of these two games, break down each team, give my early thoughts on the slate, what I do like, taking a first look at the slate on Sunday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players I like both on DraftKings and on Yahoo now. As always, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes. If you are new to the channel here, hit that subscribe button as well. I am trying to upload these DFS videos every single day for you guys on the days where we have at least a 2-game slate. I know I didn't make a video for Sunday's slate. I got home really late Saturday night. I really didn't have a ton of time to make 2 videos, so I just made a Prospects video yesterday. But I'm going to try and upload videos, pretty much every day that we have a 2-game slate. Obviously wanted to get a video up for today's slate. Hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't yet. Also, go check out Prospects, the sponsor of this video. So, Prospects is a player prop based DFS site, a little bit different than DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo. You're not necessarily building a lineup, competing against other players. It's just you versus their projections. So they have projections posted already for Monday's games. They don't have a ton of props up right now, but as we do get closer to tip-off Monday night, they'll start to add a lot more props up to the board. Take a look at their props. Again, you're just picking the over or the under. They have points, assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, assists, 3 points made, blocks and steals, block shots, steals. I mean, they have everything you can bet on. They also have fantasy point projections as well. They usually post their fantasy point projections, early Monday, and you can take a look at those. If you have access to fantasy point projections, or if you make your own projections, you can compare your projections to Prospects, make some selections that way, whether you want to go over or under. It's a lot of fun. I know a lot of you guys already play on Prospects, but if you have not signed up over there, definitely get over there, sign up, use promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But let's go ahead and talk through Monday's 2-game slate. I know when we get to these playoff slates, we're pretty much playing the same slate every day. It's the same matchups, it's the same 4 teams playing each day. But I will say today's slate is a little bit different because John Morant is doubtful for Memphis. He's unlikely to play. We'll obviously talk more about that when we get to Memphis. But this slate is a little bit different. Roster construction is going to be a little bit different. There's going to be some guys that become viable now that John Morant's out. But let's start off with the Boston-Milwaukee game. So, starting off with the Celtics, you got the main 2 guys at the top here, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum really struggled last game in that loss to Milwaukee. He only finished with 24 DK points. By far had one of his worst games that he's had in a long time. He still played 41 minutes though. Just had a bad game in general. Bad shooting game. Only shot 21% from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Only had 1 rebound, 3 assists. You can't expect Jason Tatum to be that bad again. Jason Tatum is going to bounce back here. At 9,700, I still don't think Tatum's my favorite pay-up option today because you do have Steph Curry, who I like. You have Giannis, who I like a lot as well on the other side of this game. It seems like, Ja's not going to play, so he might not be an option. I would say Tatum's probably my 3rd favorite stud on this slate. Probably would put Steph and Giannis ahead of him. But obviously Tatum's in play on a 2-game slate. He's going to play massive minutes. If it's a close game, I would expect him to bounce back here. Then you have Jaylen Brown at 8,200. He's been pretty good the last 2 games, 54 and 50 DraftKings points. Maybe one of the reasons that Tatum, I don't want to say Tatum did so bad because Brown did well, but maybe Brown, benefited with Tatum struggling. Brown did shoot the ball pretty well, 8 for 16 from the field. Had, again, 50 DK points, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. He was dealing with that hamstring injury that was kind of limping him a little bit early in the series, but it seems like that hamstring injury that he was dealing with is behind him now. He's been great. He's been playing huge minutes. I think 8,200 is where he should be priced, but obviously Jaylen Brown is in play today. I don't have an issue going there. Al Horford, he is someone that I've been on a lot so far in the playoffs, especially lately, and he's been crushing. 57 DraftKings points last game, played 39 minutes, had 22 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. His minutes have been great so far in the series. He's played 36, 37, and 39 minutes in each of the 3 games. Clearly, he's someone they want to have out there to guard Giannis. He's been, basically the primary defender on Giannis so far in the series. Now, I know the price tag has gotten up there, 6,600. That does feel like kind of a lot to pay for Horford. But man, when Horford's playing close to 40 minutes a night, he's a fantasy point per minute player. If he's getting almost 40 minutes, he can easily get 35, 40 DraftKings points, which is pretty good for his salary. So even with the price tag coming up, I still think Horford is a pretty good play today. The minutes have just been so secure for him, and I think in this series, they want him out there to guard Giannis. So I like Horford a lot today. I like him on both sites. He's affordable on Yahoo, so I think over there, $25. Horford looks like a pretty good play on Yahoo as well. Then you have Marcus Smart, who was disappointing last game, only played 29 minutes, only had 15 DraftKings points. Smart, I would expect him to bounce back here. He's never been a great point per minute player, but he is a pretty consistent option. Obviously, the 15 DK points he scored last game was kind of like the floor for him. Most nights when Marcus Smart plays like 35 to 40 minutes, he's probably going to score like 30 DraftKings points. He feels kind of like an Andrew Wiggins type of play. Doesn't have a massive ceiling, but the floor is pretty high. So in the mid-range, like I don't hate Marcus Smart. I think with him busting last slate, he will definitely come in with less ownership today. Obviously in tournaments you could go there. And then I want to talk about Robert Williams. So Robert Williams, a guy that I liked a lot last slate, didn't play a ton of minutes, only played 23 minutes, but he was really productive in that time, had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. The 3 blocks and 2 steals might be a little bit of an outlier. Normally Robert Williams is not going to get 5 stocks in only 23 minutes. But I think the minutes are going to be secure for Robert Williams. I mean, so far in the series, he hasn't played like huge minutes, only 22, 25, and then 23 minutes. But, the Celtics have been running a pretty tight rotation. For the most part, Robert Williams is going to get like 25 to 30 minutes a night. He did go to the locker room last game, so he did lose maybe a few minutes because of that. I think most nights Robert Williams plays around 30 minutes, in this series, as long as it's a close game, as long as he's not in foul trouble, as long as he doesn't go to the locker room. So I think we get about 30 minutes from Robert Williams. He is a fantasy point per minute player. He is a guy that can do everything when he's on the floor, especially, he can get those defensive stats. He's a good shot blocker. I think 5,200 is still a little bit too cheap for him. Maybe his ownership is a little inflated today after having a good game last game. But I think this price tag is definitely too low. I do like Rob Williams as well on the slate. And on Yahoo, he looks like one of the better center options on Yahoo. $22, I like him quite a bit over there as well. Especially because on Yahoo, steals and blocks are worth 3 points. And obviously, as we saw last game, Rob Williams, he can rack up those steals and blocks. But that's probably it from Boston. I guess the only other guy that I will mention is Grant Williams, just because he's been a very consistent part of their rotation. Even though he does come off the bench, he's been playing good minutes, 29, 35, and 34 minutes in each game so far in this series. I think he's pretty much locked into like 30 minutes a night moving forward. Maybe gets like mid-30s if he's playing well. Grant Williams has never been a great point per minute player, but he can knock down some threes. He'll grab some rebounds. He can get some defensive stats. He's only 4,300. We do have more value on the slate than normal, just because with Ja Morant unlikely to play, that does give us some value from Memphis that we'll talk about later. But I definitely think Grant Williams is in play for value today. I think 4,300. That's probably still too cheap for him if he is going to continue to play 30 plus minutes a night. But that's all that I got for Boston. Let's go ahead and talk about Milwaukee now. So at the top, you got Giannis at 11,400, who's coming off a huge game in Game 3 where he just completely dominated. Had 42 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 77 DraftKings points for Giannis. Played 39 minutes. I mean, he's been great so far in the series. Obviously, the matchup is not ideal against Boston, but Giannis is just one of these guys that you don't really have to worry about matchup for him. He's going to find a way to produce, whether that's through scoring, rebounding, getting assists. He just does everything when he's on the floor. He's going to play about 40 minutes if it's a close game. Even in Game 1 where he shot 9 for 25, he still had 64 DraftKings points. Even in Game 2 where he had he shot 11 for 27, which is pretty low for Giannis, he still had 51 DK points. Giannis just has such a massive floor. We know the ceiling is massive as well. He's probably going to be pretty chalky today, especially because there is more value on this slate than normal. It's going to be pretty easy to fit Giannis, but I think Giannis is the best pay-up option overall, and he is a guy that I definitely want to try and build around if possible. On Yahoo, he is really expensive over there, $58. But again, there's enough value today where you can pay up for Giannis on Yahoo as well. And then you got Drew Holiday at 8K, who I think is a very solid mid-range option. Drew Holiday going to play massive minutes, probably 40-plus minutes. He took 30 shots last game, which was great to see. Drew's usage was really good last game. Only shot 11 for 30, so he really didn't even have that great of a shooting game. Still scored 46 DraftKings points, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. I've been saying it like every video, Giannis and Drew are going to dominate the usage while Chris Middleton is out, and we kind of saw them do that last game. Drew took 30 shots. Giannis took, 30 shots last game? Yeah. Those two guys combined to shoot the ball 60 times. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know. Is that going to happen again today? Probably not. But you're going to get probably 20 shot attempts for Drew, 25, 30 shot attempts for Giannis. Like, they're going to dominate the usage. So I think at 8K, like, Drew Holiday still looks like a pretty good option in the mid-range. Bobby Portis did move back to the bench last game, so I'm not super excited about Bobby Portis today at 6K. He did still play 26 minutes, but I think at this 6K price tag, we kind of want him to start and play like 30 plus minutes. Which now that he's coming off the bench, or at least I'm guessing he's going to come off the bench moving forward, not super excited about Bobby Portis anymore. Brook Lopez did have a good game last game, scored 33 DK points in 29 minutes. He did have some foul trouble. He did have 5 fouls in those 29 minutes, so maybe he would have played a few more minutes had he not been in foul trouble. If Bobby Portis is not starting, I think that is good for Brook Lopez. And obviously, we saw Brook Lopez have a good game last game with Portis not in the starting lineup. Portis is just he's a high usage guy that'll get rebounds, that'll score points, and just taking him off the floor, replacing him with someone like Grayson Allen, that's pretty beneficial for someone like Brook Lopez. So I think at 4,600, Brook Lopez is actually a pretty decent value play today, assuming Bobby Portis doesn't start again or isn't starting. So I think Lopez at 4,600 makes sense to go to. Even though Pat Connaughton started last game, he wasn't that productive. He played 25 minutes, shot 0 of 3, only had 10 DraftKings points. I would expect I'd expect Grayson Allen to have a little bit of a better game today, but I'm not super excited about Grayson Allen. I don't know if, even if he starts again, I don't think that's a massive boost for him. I don't think his role really is going to change that much, even if he is starting. Honestly, it's probably not good to see him start because he's going to be playing alongside Drew and Giannis a lot, which whenever he's playing alongside Drew and Giannis, his usage is just not going to be that great. So really not that interested in Grayson Allen. I think Pat Connaughton, though, at 3,600 looks like a pretty good value. He did play 33 minutes last game. I think, Allen did kind of struggle a little bit, shot 0 for 3, only played 25 minutes. Well, you kind of saw Connaughton benefit because of that. When it comes to Connaughton and Allen, normally you're going to get about 25 minutes for both guys, and depending on who's playing better, you could see one of them play 30 minutes. Last game, it was Connaughton who got 30 minutes. If Connaughton gets 33 minutes again, at 3,600, he is a really good value play. If we're looking for value below 4K, we actually do have some good options. Obviously, we're going to talk about Memphis. Tyus Jones is going to be the clear best value play on the slate today. But I think Pat Connaughton is for sure viable. If you're trying to build out a Stars and Scrubs lineup, which is actually something you can do on this slate, Connaughton would be someone that I would look to in those kind of Stars and Scrubs builds. But that's all that I'm looking to on Milwaukee. Nothing else stands out here. So let's go ahead and talk about the next game, the night game, Memphis and Golden State. So yeah, the big news today, Ja Morant, unlikely to play. Right now he's listed as doubtful. Take that with a grain of salt. We've seen, so far in the playoffs, Devin Booker was listed as doubtful for Game 6 against the Pelicans. He wound up playing. Joel Embiid was listed doubtful, or actually he was ruled out for Game 3 against Miami. Then he got ruled doubtful and he wound up playing. Don't be surprised if Ja Morant plays today. It's not a guarantee that he sits, but for now, with the report that he's unlikely to play, with the report that he's doubtful, I just kind of have to assume that he's going to be out. So with Ja Morant, most likely going to be out. That really just changes everything. There's going to be a lot of guys that benefit. You're going to see more usage for pretty much all the starters. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks are all going to get bumps. Jaren Jackson Jr. has actually seen a really big bump in usage with Ja off the floor. I think he actually sees the biggest spike in usage during the regular season when Ja was off the floor, when you look at the on-off splits. So I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is really going to benefit. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble, I think he's playing 32, 34 minutes. So at 6,300, I think he's a very solid option in the mid-range. Little preference, slightly prefer Al Horford over Triple J, but I think, Triple J is definitely viable. Desmond Bane, I think, should be a big beneficiary without Ja Morant. He should get pretty big minutes here, 35, 36 minutes. They're going to need someone else to score the ball, and obviously Desmond Bane can do that. He has really struggled in this series. He hasn't looked like his self. He hasn't shot the ball super well. But he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to shoot the ball today because Ja Morant has just been dominating the usage so far in the series. Somebody else is going to have to put the ball in the basket. I think Desmond Bane's going to get a lot of opportunity. I think he's going to get some open looks as well. Tyus Jones is a really good backup point guard, but he's more of a facilitator. He's obviously not as aggressive offensively as Ja Morant is. So replacing Ja Morant with Tyus Jones just completely changes this Grizzlies offense. So I think Desmond Bane's going to get plenty of opportunity, and I think it's 6,200. He's too cheap today, when you factor in that, Ja Morant's expected to be out. So I like Desmond Bane quite a bit on DraftKings. I like him on Yahoo as well. I think he's too cheap over there at $23. And I think Dillon Brooks benefits too. Dillon Brooks should get a lot of opportunity. Now, obviously, Dillon Brooks has been one of these guys, he can just go out there and just shoot the ball terribly. He could take 25 shots and shoot 6 for 25. He's done it before. But I think the volume will be there. He's going to have to shoot the ball. Somebody's going to have to put the ball in the basket. And we know Dillon Brooks is not afraid to shoot. When he gets opportunity, he's going to take it. So I think he'll play 30-plus minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble, as long as the game's close. The minutes will be there. I think the usage will be there. Obviously, this is his first game back from the suspension. He should be fine to play his normal minutes. I definitely think Dillon Brooks is a solid mid-range option at 5,500. Like him quite a bit. And then if you're looking for some other guys, I mean, Brandon Clark obviously hasn't been as good in this series as he was in the Minnesota series. His role has not been as good. His minutes have not been as high. Little bit worried about Brandon Clark right now. Like, I just don't know if in this series you can definitely get away going small. Like, I think this is a series where you're going to see Jaren Jackson Jr. play the 5 a lot. You just don't need, like, going up against Draymond Green, you don't need a big, like, Brandon Clark out there. You can play Triple J at the 5. Obviously, Brandon Clark was really huge because he was, out there with Karl Anthony Towns guarding Cat in that Minnesota series. He's not needed as much in this series, so I still think the upside's there if he gets the minutes, but I'm definitely a little bit worried about Brandon Clark right now, especially because he only played 17 minutes last game, only 27 minutes the game before that. Like, his minutes are kind of trending down right now. Still think he's in play, just a little bit risky. D'Anthony Melton, I think, is a pretty solid value. Obviously, he benefited last game with Dylan Brooks out, and now you take John Morant out of the equation, so there's, you're pretty much, it's basically the same thing. I mean, there's just another guy out today. You're getting Dylan Brooks back, but then you're taking away John Morant, who plays like 40 minutes a night. So there's going to be a lot of minutes available. I expect D'Anthony Melton to get a good chunk of minutes. I think he plays mid-20s, probably 25, 28 minutes for sure in play today. Price tag came up a little bit, but I have no issue going to D'Anthony Melton. Then the last guy I want to talk about, I mean, really not much to say here. 3,400 for Tyus Jones. He's the best value play on the slate, assuming John Morant is out. He's basically a free square. If I was playing 150 lineups today, I would play Tyus Jones in every single lineup. DraftKings just messed up here. They should have priced him up to like 6K. When John Morant is out, Tyus Jones should be like 5K, close to 6K. 3,400 is just, it's too cheap. I mean, Tyus Jones is a lock and load today. Best value play on the slate. He's pretty cheap on Yahoo as well. $15 over there. I like him, a ton on Yahoo for sure. In terms of raw value, points per dollar wise, Tyus Jones is, probably the number one play on the slate today. Obviously, all this is assuming that Ja does not play. But that's all that I got from Memphis. I think that's pretty much everything here. Let's talk about Golden State now real quick before we end the video. You got Steph Curry at the top for 9,400. I think Steph looks like a pretty good pay-up option today. I would say that he's probably my second favorite pay-up option behind Giannis. This is a slate where we do have some value. We've kind of talked about a lot of guys already that are in play. You got Tyus Jones, you got Grant Williams, you got Pat Connaughton. Like, these are guys you can play. You can fit probably Giannis and Steph in a lineup today if you wanted to go that route. I think Steph's, my second favorite pay-up option on the slate. He's been great so far in the series, has shown massive upside. He's playing huge minutes every night. Did lose out on a few minutes last game because it was a blowout. Could today's game be a blowout? I mean, it's possible, but I think Memphis, Memphis actually played really well with Ja off the floor. I think their record, during the regular season, they were like 20-5 with Ja off the floor. So, obviously it's a downgrade to lose Ja, but Memphis's defense is going to be really good with Tyus Jones out there. I think this game will stay close. I think Steph will play 36, 40 minutes here. Obviously, the ceiling is there. He's a great shooter. He's a guy that just can, do everything. Obviously, a little bit more scoring dependent, but at 9,400, Steph's my favorite pay-up option, or second favorite pay-up option on the slate behind Giannis. Klay Thompson at 7,400. Just kind of like a GPP option. Had a pretty good game last game. Shot 8 for 13, 38 DraftKings points. I think 7,400, he's kind of priced where he should be. I do kind of question the ceiling for Klay Thompson at this salary. We haven't really seen Klay Thompson be in the winning lineups much at all this postseason. He's had a few big games. He had 43 DK points, one game against Denver, 41. But other than that, he's just kind of been in the 30s and in the 20s. 7,400, you kind of need 40-plus DraftKings points for Klay to be worth the salary. He obviously has that upside in him. I just don't think he's someone I'm really trying to build around today. Jordan Poole did come off the bench last game, still played 31 minutes, was pretty solid, had 35 DraftKings points. Another guy where his price tag is 7,100, so I think that's probably where he should be. But I have no issue with Jordan Poole today. I think he's a solid mid-range play. Probably would prefer these Memphis guys like Bane, Brooks. I probably would prefer them over Poole, but I still think Poole's in play. Now, Draymond, he's kind of been, a little bit disappointing in the series. Has not been super productive, just 21, 29, and 23 DraftKings points so far through 3 games. Look, we know the upside that Draymond has. We know he can stuff the stat sheet when he's on the floor. He can do everything. I think with him struggling so much right now, that's definitely going to keep his ownership low. So if you want to play Draymond in tournaments, I have no issue with it. I don't think he's a standout play today, but he's still viable for me because I think the upside is there. We know Draymond can just stuff the stat sheet and has triple-double upside. Andrew Wiggins, kind of mentioned him earlier as just a safe play. He's probably going to play mid-30s minutes if it's a close game. He was in foul trouble last game, so that's why he only played 26 minutes. Wouldn't expect that to happen again. I think we're going to get 33, 34 minutes from Wiggins here. I question the upside on Andrew Wiggins, but I think the floor is pretty high. I think he's pretty likely to give you 25, 30 DraftKings points, so he's fine at 5,900. No issue going there. And then if we're looking for value from Golden State, so worth mentioning that Jonathan Kuminga did start last game. A little bit surprising. He only played 18 minutes, so it's hard to get excited about Kuminga if he starts again. Like, we've just seen Steve Kerr do this so many times where he starts Kuminga and then plays him like 15 minutes. Kuminga didn't even start the second half last game. So I'm not really sure on Kuminga. Like, if he starts again, he's playable, but I would definitely be a little bit worried about the minutes. I think a lot of his production came in garbage time as well, so yeah, I'm not really that excited about Kuminga. Otto Porter did benefit last game with Kuminga, not playing as many minutes. Porter started the second half over Kuminga, played 24 minutes. Like, I think at 4,100, Porter is kind of another guy you could throw into that value pool with like Pat Connaughton, Tyus Jones, Grant Williams, like those guys. You could put Porter in that value pool. Obviously, Tyus Jones is like the number one value today, but I think Porter's for sure in play. I think he'll get mid-20s minutes at 4,100. I have no issue going there. And that's really it. Like, I don't think, Looney, none of these other guys are in play for me from Golden State. I mean, I'm really focused on the starters here, but if you want to play Porter, I don't hate that. I think he's for sure in play. Kuminga, maybe if he starts again, you could consider. But that's all that I'm looking to on Golden State. So that's what I got for this 2-game Monday night slate. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you enjoy, guys. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you have not yet signed up for PrizePicks, get over there, sign up, and use promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And again, you can take a look at the board for Monday night's games. They do already have some props posted. Obviously, as we get closer to tip-off Monday night, they will start to add a lot more props up on the board. You can take a look at their board, make some picks for yourself. Just picking over or under. Once just making 2 picks, or you can make up to 5 picks, win up to 10 extra money. PrizePicks is a ton of fun. I know a lot of you guys already play over there, but if you're new and you have not signed up for PrizePicks, get over there, sign up, use code NOAH, get your first deposit matched up to $100. But that's all that I got for tonight, guys. Wish you the best of luck on this Monday night slate. Hope you guys enjoy your Monday night. Best of luck, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.